In the morning with the Atlanta Super Bowl host committee talking about the ways in which they would like their Super Bowl to replicate this one. Obviously, it should be warmer. Atlanta has way more space and way more room for all of the incoming guests than the Twin Cities, but this area has shown an energy and excitement for an event that does not come around every day. That's what I asked Atlanta's COO for their Super Bowl host committee.
Minneapolis, St. Paul has embraced the cold. There are ski slopes in the streets of downtown Minneapolis. What does Atlanta have in terms of an image that you feel you can project to the rest of the world?
One of the big things we're wanting to emphasize is how much it's changed since the last time this event was there. 2000 was almost 19 years ago when we get down to kickoff, and so showing the world what Atlanta is like today compared to where it was, almost 20 years ago.
How do you incorporate that into the fan experience?
Find ways to use some of the technology and the things that are happening in Atlanta. One of the things that they do here during the Super Bowl is what they call First and Future. It's an entrepreneurial technology pitching event. So we're doing an event like that in Atlanta from a food perspective. Food trucks, food vendors. How do we show the people of the world that come into Atlanta for Super Bowl weekend the various culinary people that we have in place, the chefs, the restaurants, the food concepts that make Atlanta unique.
There is an excitement here this week that, from what I can tell, is based on the fact that this kind of event does not come to the Twin Cities very often. How do you gin up the excitement in our city that we're seeing in this city?
I think that'll be something we'll be working on, starting with our volunteer program. You've probably seen it here in Minneapolis, the Crew 52, people in their blue jackets all over town. They have almost 10,000 volunteers. And I think that's at the core of really building that energy, that excitement, showing the passion in the community. They're going to be the face of the Super Bowl in Atlanta.
So obviously, no one loves sub-zero temperatures and even further sub-zero wind chills, but the big concern for the Minnesota committee is snow, and we talked with the Atlanta committee members about how concerned they should be about the possibility of snow next year. That's coming up at 6. Jeff, back to you.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, Matt. In fact, we're going to bring in Chris Holcomb right now to talk about this. I think the weather forecast in Atlanta really illustrates the great concern that we have. The first week of February in Atlanta is a wild card. You can be 61 as it was today, or you can have this wintry mix, which is right at our doorstep again. Right, Chris?
Yeah, we've been studying, looking back at all of the weather that has taken place on February 3rd here in Atlanta, and anything can happen. Now,